when you were just about the only thing, or remember when there was just one thing that you couldn't bring to school? Bubble gum, all that concern about putting it under your desk. Oh boy, have things changed a lot. In New York, in fact, the list of banned items now includes cell phones, pagers, and a host of other electronic devices. The rule was just up for review, a judge smacking it down. Now it's parents that are calling for justice and a high court appeal. Surprising that parents would want their kids to have those cell phones. You'd think they might want them to focus on what's happening. Here to talk about it, former prosecutor Paul Callan and defense attorney Stacey Schneider. Both parents, all of us parents, Paul, but you are a professor, and those kids texting in class, you're not so thrilled with it. So was the judge correct?
Oh, the judge was absolutely correct. You know, the U.S.
You love this judge.
I love this judge, and I think, you know, the U.S. Constitution guarantees the right to bear arms, but not cell phones, okay? There's nothing in the Constitution about cell phones. And public schools in New York have decided it's disruptive. They don't want the kids text messaging each other, and they have a legitimate right to ban cell phones.
Why do they have the right? Stacey, isn't that a parent's right to decide whether a child has a cell phone? Does the school have the authority?
I think the school doesn't have the authority. I don't agree with Paul. I actually think this ban could be found unconstitutional because every parent has a fundamental right to raise their children the way they want to, unless the conduct creates an imminent danger. There's certainly nothing dangerous about having and using cell phones in school. It's inconvenient. It's disruptive. There are ways to deal with that, Jamie. Ban the use of the phones, but not the possession of the phones.
So the parents will appeal now, Paul. That is what is expected, saying that the judge, his ruling was wrong, banning the cell phones. Their kids should be allowed to have them. There is a difference between having it and actually using it. So will the parents win on appeal?
No, I think the parents will lose because reasonable regulations are allowed by the courts. You know, kids in school don't have the same rights as adults. You're allowed to restrict. They can't bring guns, knives, sometimes bubble gum. They can't wear hats. We can control how they dress. We certainly can control whether they're going to have cell phones in school. So I think the courts are going to rule in favor of the New York City school system ultimately.
But I think there's going to be enough pressure on the courts here in New York, Jamie, because we live still under a 9/11 mentality. We were all here for 9/11. Our kids are in school. We need these phones as our lifelines to our children. This is a different place than anywhere else in the country, and I think there's going to be enough public pressure from the parents here that maybe we'll get to keep them.
You know, I think what we have to remember is life existed before cell phones. I mean, many of us actually went through the entire educational system without ever having a cell phone, and none of us got hurt, and I don't think kids need cell phones today.
We are in an era, though, where parents are concerned every day their child goes to school. Could be a school shooting, could be a bully. They might need some assistance. So what if they carry their cell phones but just don't turn them on during class? That's what some school districts do. Could the judge have not limited the decision or tailored it so that he could meet both the needs of the parents and the school?
I don't think
and does the judge even have the authority? Because I'm questioning whether or not this court really even had jurisdiction.
Well, I think the judge could not tailor the ruling because if you let them have the cell phones can be used so discreetly. You put it in a book, you hold it under the desk.
No, Stacey, if they use it, they go to the principal's office.
Right, and you know what? It takes maybe a minute for every teacher in class to say, collect the cell phones from the beginning. When I go down to federal court in Manhattan, I have to turn in my cell phone. I get a little claim slip with a number. It takes a second, and then I get it back when the day's over.
No doubt the decision will be reviewed. New York parents are very persistent. We'll keep you posted on what's happening. Paul and Stacey, good to see you. I'm out of time. Thanks so much. A Florida man is the victim of a